at Dell Podcast, your auditory experience on employment and labor news. Welcome again to Dell Podcast, your auditory experience on employment and labor news. This is another exciting episode that will be talking specifically on matters relating to national minimum wage. And in the house, we've got our special guest, Ms. Honani Masingita. They affectionately know her as Masingi. So she's going to talk to us about national minimum wage and all that relates to it. Welcome, ma'am. I hope you're good today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tajane. I am good. Good morning to the viewers.
Wonderful, wonderful. The viewers must be excited to be talking about national minimum wage. They've been seeing a lot of things on our social media about MW, national minimum wage. They probably want to know, what is this national minimum wage? What is the significance of national minimum wage? Why should we be talking about it? Tell us.
Mr. Tajane, in a simple way, the national minimum wage is the lowest amount that you are all allowed to pay an employee by law, according to the law. Without us using big words or using big jargon. And you're not supposed to just pay only that lowest amount. You can pay above the national minimum wage, but we are just saying, but legally, you cannot pay below the national minimum wage.
Perfect. So it's a labor policy. And obviously, national minimum wage at the rate of 30 rands, 23 rands, I think, it's not a living wage. So you are saying do not pay less than the national minimum wage. Pay from national minimum wage up based on the scope of the work, and it's not a living wage. So if you have to explain to us the difference between living wage and national minimum wage, just in a few words.
So in South Africa, we don't yet currently have the concept of the living wage. However, when you look at how researchers actually benchmark the living wage, they benchmark it using your CPI grocery basket and every other thing that households will spend on. So they say in South Africa, you need about 12,000 if you are a family of two, and they always say 2.5 households. I'm always laughing at the 2.5 because there's no half person. But yeah, they usually benchmark it around that. However, based on where we come from historically and where the country is, and taking into consideration that the country it's a developing country, we have the national minimum wage to actually assist in alleviating, which is what the national minimum wage is there for, to alleviate poverty and also help with regards to decrease income differentiation.
Oh, absolutely. Because back in the day, I mean, our grandfathers, our grandmothers used to get paid 10 cents. So obviously now it's no longer 10 cents. It's based on the issues that you're talking to. Now, there's a commission that deals with the national minimum wage. And I hope it's an independent, it deals with these things independently. They advise us on what to do. But why are they interested in workers, employers, interested parties to comment and make inputs?
So let me just talk about the commission first. So the commission comprises of, it has your labor, and there's community, and there's business, and they have an independent chairperson. So our commission is independent in such a way that the Department of Labor cannot tell the commission that this is the way that you're going to take, or nor the minister can tell the commission to say, this is what you need to take into consideration. So now the commission will come together every year as requested by the law, because this is in the act that the commission must review the national minimum wage annually. And when they review the national minimum wage annually, they need in the information that they're going to give to the minister to say, this is our recommendation. They need to include input from the public. And hence now we want the public to come on board, give their written representation, and also complete the survey. One of the other thing, if you and I can be honest, when we talk about the national minimum wage, it affects everyone, right? Absolutely. You know an uncle that is earning a national minimum wage. I mean, you know someone that, there was a time where I had to talk, and I remember telling people about the time we're growing up, and we had people that were working, but they could never afford to do anything in the house. Absolutely. So, and you also have a domestic worker, or maybe you know someone who has a domestic worker, and you want that person to come in to say, I have a domestic worker, but I think we can go this way. These are my challenges if we're going up this way or going low this way, or whatever way the direction they go. But even talk about the challenges. When they submit the written representation, the commission takes that into consideration before. When they sit down and they come up with their recommendations, that is taken into consideration.
Okay, great. We'll get to the survey and the written submissions. But now you're talking about my uncle who has to do this ABCD. Now there's issues of electricity, there's issues of bread, milk, accommodation, petrol, and what have you. Now, talk to those issues in terms of the national minimum wage vis-a-vis our budget at home. How do those link in terms of, influencing the commission itself to take into consideration and make appropriate recommendations?
So now, I think our viewers will also encourage them to access the department's website to see our annual report that we publish, because it gives guidelines of the things that the commission looks at. But inflation is one of them. I mean, every year or every month, you see that the SSA releases information on inflation. Let's start with the monthly one. And every month, it affects your livelihood. So now there's an average one that has been averaged for the year. And inflation affects the value of money, your purchasing power, it affects that. So the commission will look at inflation. They will look at the GDP also, because now you're not just looking at also my angle only. You're looking at employers, looking at your small MMEs, SMMEs. You want to see how they're doing. You look at how it affects even employers' ability to carry business, because inflation goes both ways. It affects the employees. It also affects your especially in the agricultural sector. It affects your employers because they've got input costs. So the commission looks at such things. You look at your productivity. So while the commission is interested in making sure that employees are doing well at home, they are also interested in making sure that jobs are retained. They're also interested in making sure that hours of work of employees are not affected. And we see that when we do the quantitative study, the research, it brings that information to the commission. Okay. So those are the things that they look at.
That's great. I suspect that's why social dialogue and communication is important. Because you see, sometimes you think there's a debate between employers and workers. And I suspect there's a significance why employers must play a role in this particular process. So what will you say is employers' role, especially in the communication discussion about national minimum wage? What should employers be participating on, and why are they important in this debate?
Mr. T, I'm going to give a simple example that we had a compliance seminar earlier this year. What informed the compliance seminar was, funny enough, it was not employees saying people are not complying with the national minimum wage. It was employers that said to us, yes, we are complying, but we know people that are not complying with the national minimum wage. So we think the commission should take it seriously. And then it brings us back to Ankel, who's now at home. That employer is also a person who lives in the community, who sees how people are struggling. So they also look at those things and they say, but I mean, let's all comply. And that's where you want, when for things to go well in our country, we need to be a collective. We need to be, and that's why now, even with social dialogue, you're not going to only focus to say, employees, what are your needs? You also employers you want to hear employers say that. And most of the time when we've interviewed employers, they are concerned about the livelihood of their employees. Because I think an employee that's paid well is a happy employee.
In actual fact, you remind me that worker rights are human rights. Therefore, we need to ensure that we get these things right. Now, sometimes you'll hear, no, government said we must pay you this amount. And I always argue, but as you've indicated, you don't have to pay below national minimum wage. And government has never said pay the national minimum wage. It said pay appropriate wages or salaries. Now, in that case, what should the national minimum wage be in the context of this review of the commission, as well as ourselves as responsible government?
So what happens now, every November, the commission will sit down. They will sit down, and when they sit down, they take the public inputs that we are calling for now. They take the public inputs, review what everyone is saying to say, okay, this is what. Because every decision that the commission takes is evidence-based. They are not just coming out of, thumb sucking a number and just coming out to say,
this should be.
Yes, this should be. And the other one says, no, I feel like it should be 50%. No, This is based on evidence. The commission will sit down. The commission will look at the indicators as GDP, as I've indicated. The commission will look at how productivity is in the country. Look at the inflation rate. The inflation rate is very important. They also look at their purpose. Remember, the purpose of the National Minimum Wage Act is to alleviate poverty. The purpose of the National Minimum Wage is to deal, also assist. It's one of the tools in assisting with income misappropriation. Sorry.
Bridge the income gap, yeah?
Yes, disparity. So now that's what the commission will look at. And the commission also has set medium-term targets.
Oh.
And what the medium-term target says is to make sure that the commission has to ensure that the value of the national minimum wage does not become eroded.
Okay.
And how does it become eroded? Usually, high prices erode wages.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. So.
All right, but what is important as well, now coming to what you've alluded to, the written submissions, and you just explained the significance of, employers, interested parties, and workers to make written submissions. We've said it on our social media. Please, the commission wants you to submit written submission as well as the survey. Now, this survey, why should we participate and fill in the survey?
So this survey will help informing a report to the commission in a nutshell. It's also even the written representation, both the survey and the written representation they are taken, and the report is also published on the department's website. So our commission is a commission that, like you spoke about, the independence. They also believe in transparency.
Yeah.
So everything that the commission is doing, it's not something that the public can say, we don't know about the review process. The review process is there in the Act, and even the reports that the commission publishes, it's reports that are transparent where people can see that, okay, this is how the commission came to this decision. Now, without having that survey, without having the written representation, then the commission is not going to be able to go and advise the minister to say, we came to this because of that, and also even the Act warrants that. But I don't want to focus so much on saying the Act warrants that, but it is a good, if you have a say, yes, in your income, if you have a say in how you pay your workers, then you know that whatever decision that it has been said, whatever it made, you were part of it.
Democracy requires fairness, and I suspect participation begets fairness. There's some of us who are young, who just entering the world of work or the job market. The national minimum wage, how does it affect us now that we just entered about 6 months or a year into the world of work? So how can we get youngsters or young ones, or the youth, if you may put it that way, to get into this conversation? What is it that you want them to understand? What do we want them to say? Oh, let's necessarily say, but how do we want them to participate in this whole debate of national minimum wage?
I think when it comes to the youth, I look at it both ways. I look at it with the youth entering the market. I also look at it with the youth having influence at home. I think the youngsters have got more influence than their own parents, and they've got influence on their parents at home. So when it comes to the national minimum wage, especially even with the written reviews and having a say, they know that this is my starting salary. And let's say you are entering a job market, your starting salary is at this rate. I'm not going to give whatever amount that it is.
Yeah.
You know how it affects you. You know their costs. You know everything. And I mean, the youth are participating in a whole lot of platforms. So you want them to come and be the voice to say, let's shape this national minimum wage, because they are shaping the future of their own country.
Absolutely.
And also, even at home, I always say that teach the child, and then the child will go and teach the adult. Because the young person was at varsity or about to enter the labor market, then realizes, no, actually my uncle was not earning a free wage. Then they go home and tell the uncle to say, uncle, I think that person is not giving you. Actually supposed to earn this. That's the lowest that you can earn according to the law.
No, absolutely, because the youth is our future. So if we invest now, we're basically making sure the oncoming generations have got a better life with the requisite wages and what have you. So it's quite important, and I agree with you. But now let's talk to the worker, because the world of work is made significant and viable because of the worker. Now, if we have to appeal to workers listening right now, what will you say to them? How would you encourage them? What is the word of encouragement would you want to put across to the workers, especially in the context of the survey, in the context of written submissions, especially in the context of confidence in terms of requesting and demanding what is right to them?
I think to the workers, I will emphasize really, we actually want them to participate. We want their voices to be heard. And I will say it because, for instance, if you look at employers, they have like organizations, they kind of united and they have people that can submit written representation. But you look at your vulnerable employee, your domestic worker, your gardener, we want to hear them. They matter because the national minimum wage is actually for vulnerable employees. So if we are not getting vulnerable employees coming to talk to us, then the commission cannot hear their voice. And if they cannot hear their voice, they don't know that we are acting this way. How is it affecting that person? Are we helping them? But when the workers are having a voice and they're speaking, then they're shaping their salaries. They're shaping just as much as Mr. T, you and I in government, we are in unions, right?
Yes.
And they come back to us and say to us, we have gone for 7%. Do you agree? And then consultation, and I said, oh, no, I don't think 7% works for me.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you an example,
yeah.
right? And even with this process, it's the same even for the vulnerable employees. It is their platform, it is their time to have a voice because they're important.
No, absolutely. Now, lastly, as we close off, to our viewers that are viewing us now, guide us. How do we participate in this survey? How do we go about it? Where is the survey? How do we go about participating in this?
So we have published a notice in the Government Gazette, and also the department's website has a link on the survey. And we have an email, nmwreview@labour.gov.za. You're welcome to submit your written submissions. They don't have to be even many paragraphs. Say what you need to say in whatever way that you want to say it. We will hear you, and you will be considered in the report.
Thank you very much. That is me. This is what we had for you for today. I am Tebo Tejani, your host of Dell Podcast, your auditory experience on employment and labor news. Follow us on our socials. Go to our website, www.labor.gov.za. You'll find all our online services there. Thank you very much, Mema Cindy Taponani, for being with us and giving us all this valuable and good information. Until we meet again, that's us.
Thank
Thank you very much.